Okay, this is the second part then to my original discussion about energy healing and what happens. So I was discussing about physical healing, and now I'm going to discuss about some emotional healing. And I thought the best way to do this would be to just pretty much walk you through a session, or at least what I start to do. I have taken courses on chakra work, energy body work, and a whole variety of healing modalities. I've taken angelic healing courses, and then advanced courses in that, and then I can even teach the course. They just came to me very easily. I guess the angelic realm is sort of like a thing that I'm already very familiar with. And then, of course, all of that doesn't even really matter because I intuitively trust my guides. And my guides, I always start with my 4 watchtower angels, which is Michael and Raphael, although Raphael is my right-hand man as far as he tells me everything to do when it comes to healing. Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, and then a lot of times I'll have Metatron. He will help. Shemuel will come and help when it has things to do with love and heart. And a whole variety of different angels will come and help for the different emotions that they carry or help with. Sometimes Michael will come to the forefront if someone is a police officer or a fireman or more into like law, maybe even a lawyer or a judge, or anything to do with like justice a lot of times. Or if your higher self is a blue ray, so that's just like an example, I also, my higher self is, beyond belief how good she comes up with things. And, so my team, there's quite a bit of healing background in my team. And so through the months, I have sat in meditation for many, many, many hours and just listening and receiving and seeing, this is how you would heal this is how you would do that, this is what you would do with this is what you know what I mean? So now I'll give you an example. So let's say, ideally, I love to do any energy work in person, but that doesn't work out so much. So usually I will ask a current picture, because a current picture gives a window to the soul, so to speak. I don't necessarily need it though, but it just makes it so much quicker and easier. And so what I do is I look at the picture, and it's even better if I'm on a phone call with you, but I could do texting. But I like to be reactive in the moment, A lot of times I like to say, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Do you have this? Do you, can you feel tingling in your legs? Can you feel, heaviness in your chest? Can you know what I mean? So, usually, a picture, and then what I will do is I will stare at the picture, and I will intuitively know if I should send, what I do is I send a very thin golden thread either to your third eye, your thymus, or your heart chakra, and sometimes all 3, depending on how deep. And so what I do is I see this little tiny thread reaching you, and then I ride the thread to you. And so then suddenly I am there by your energy body, and I am able to just start looking. And most of the time, for my own safety, for your happiness, I will just immediately start sending white light from source through and through your body, from top to bottom. A lot of times I will even talk you through a relaxation, like, the light, see the light, it is coming, it is hitting the top of your head, and now it's, your forehead and your eyes, and almost like a relaxation thing, but in reality, I'm sending white light through your body, purifying, helping you. It also gives me clarity, because if you have any stagnant energy on your body, then I can't really see. It looks almost like a smoke screen. So the white light from source will definitely help with that. Okay, so once I do that, and the whole, sometimes I'll start seeing stuff as I'm relaxing your body. Maybe I'll start seeing, let's give examples. So I sit there and I'll be like, okay, the light's going through your head, through your eyes, through your cheeks, through your nose, your mouth. It's still moving downwards, through your neck. And then maybe I'll start seeing something. Maybe I'll start seeing like a little darkness or fogginess or something in your neck, and I'll look at it some more, and then maybe it looks like, it would be right where your thyroid would be. And usually around that time, when I think about it, then I get a confirmation that that's thyroid, and then I'll say, do you have thyroid issues? Or I'll get an idea right away to ask if they have thyroid issues, or if they have issues pertaining to, and then I'll understand at that time what the thyroid does. I don't write at this moment because I'm not channeling spirit, but weight loss, weight gain, depression, anxiety, I'm hearing it all now. Anyway, so thyroid symptoms, and I would sit there and I'd say, do you have thyroid problems, blah blah blah, and 9 times out of 10, yeah, I do. Okay, well, when I'm finished clearing you completely, then I will start working on that. That's how it usually, the talk goes. Sometimes I'll be doing this energy work, and suddenly I'll see like a darkness or something on a elbow, and then I'll look into it a little deeper just by staring at it, and it almost like it reveals to me what it is. And I'll say, have you ever had an injury in your elbow? It looks like maybe something was torn there, and lo and behold, that's what it is. One lady, I was doing this to her, and on her calf, her left calf, I said, there's a thing there, and it feels like, and I'm thinking about it, and I say, you never got burned on a motorcycle, have you? Like where the tailpipes, and sure enough, she had old scarring on her leg from when she was burned by a tailpipe. And I had never met this lady before. It was an over the phone deal, and so I just sort of soothed it, because it looked like a darker spot of her body, and it probably even still gave her some issues, because maybe it was sometimes what happens when you have scar tissue is you lose feeling, in that part. What else? So yeah, cleaning and clearing from head to toe. And then like I said, a lot of times the issues will pop up as I'm going along. If not, then what I do is I start with your soul star chakra above your head, and I ripen it, and for it to be nice and big and white, and like the little rainbow sparkles within it. And then I will take that and I will start pulling it down through each chakra, starting at your root and working upwards. So I'm starting with the soul star chakra, and then I say, okay, and now I'm pulling it down to your crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar, sacral, down to your root. Okay, there we are. And then I'll say, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling. I'm spinning your root chakra. And then as I'm spinning, what happens is I start seeing the stuff you need to purge. What is bothering you in your root chakra? Well, things that bother the root chakra are a lot of times, safety and home and things like that. So maybe I'll see a vision pop up about when you were a child, you felt unsafe because of this, or this. And so what I will end up doing is I will bring it up. I will say, I'm seeing something. Well, it looks like maybe I'm seeing a small child, and I'm seeing them. Okay, I can remember somebody. This happened. I was saying, I see a small child. I see them sitting on a couch afraid because somebody's knocking on their front door and nobody's home. And I said, were you left home as a child? And yes. And the person on the other end, big burly guy, in his late 40s, starts crying. And so I say, okay, well, we're going to release that. And I start spinning the chakra, and I see in my mind's eye the darkness, which is that memory. And then I will take that memory, and with my energy, I will pull it away, and I will send it in the way what I have. I have a way to dispose of it. And that's what I do. And then I'll go back and I'll look at that root chakra again, and maybe there's something else. Do the same thing over and over and over and over again until I feel satisfied enough. Then I go up to the next one, do the next thing, sacral chakra. Maybe, there might be some issues of, why am I not pretty enough? Why am I not handsome enough? Or, why can't I keep a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever it may be, not enough confidence. Maybe I can tell of one situation, in the sacral chakra. A lot of times you'll find women's female issues, and one of my girlfriends, had been having, she had a cancer scare when she was young. She couldn't hold another pregnancy, so she was done having babies at a certain time. This was maybe, 15 years ago, and now she's telling me about the issues now. But the point is that I saw in her sacral chakra, off to the side, the tiniest little ball of golden light. And I looked at it and I was like, what is that? This was the first time I ever seen it. And so I'm sitting there, doing the sacral chakra, and then that, I'm spinning it, and it's looking better, but there's that little gold light. So I really just dove into the little gold light, like, what is this? And then suddenly I got this overwhelming knowledge that it was a little soul. So basically, she had a miscarriage at some point in time in her pregnancies, and that little soul, she was holding on to it because she was so sorrowful for the pregnancies that she lost. And so then I said to her, I says, did you ever lose a pregnancy? And she started bawling. And I said, well, wait a minute. I'm like, let me confirm. And then I'm thinking about it. Confirmation came. Was it a little boy? And yes, it was a little boy. And she's crying and crying. She's like, is that why I could never have another boy, or that I could never have a boy because she had two girls? And I asked the little ball of light, I said, is this true? And it said no. I yawn a lot when I'm moving energy. I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about everything I did, and I could feel all this energy moving through me. So, yes, so the little energy, I'm sitting there asking it. I'm like, are you the reason why she never was able to have more babies? Yes, because she was holding on to it. I'm like, is this why she couldn't have no boys? No, it's just that she couldn't have no babies at all. And I said, oh. And then I said, you're released. You can go back. I was like speaking so nicely to it. And I also was talking to the woman. I said, you're holding on to this. You need to let it go. And I started like spinning my hand a little bit, and I saw the little tiny light go back up to source, like it was being sent back to where it came from. And it was so happy and excited because that little light was just in her, sacral for like 10 plus years. It was so lonesome, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't fun. So poor thing. I felt really, that kind of affected me a little bit, but it was beautiful to know that I could help it and it was sent back. Okay, so that's like sacral chakra type issues. I have done where I have healed a man from his sacral chakra, and lo and behold, it cured his impotence because he had some blockages in his energy body right there, and it had to do with lack of self-worth and lack of self-esteem, because when you first start with men especially, well, this is a man's thing, so, if you're very, what is the word? Not feral, but virile. If you're very, like, you can enjoy yourself and have a good time, and you're very, a nice erection, and suddenly that starts not being as good. Maybe you just can't get as stout as you used to be, and so that starts working havoc on your sacral chakra because it's almost like a self-esteem thing for that. And so then what happens? So as I was checking this guy's chakra there, I got the feeling that he was having impotency issues. And so I came right out and I said, so are you having some issues with impotency, or at least with getting excitable? And yes, I am. And very, self-conscious about it. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, let's work on that. And as I'm spinning it, suddenly he started feeling more blood flow, more energy in that area, and bada boom, bada bing, he ended up getting himself a big erection. And then after that, he was able to do it anytime, because it was a blockage of energy in that chakra. So definitely something amazing with that one. Solar plexus, that's in the middle in your tummy, like the seat of your soul. There was a interesting conversation recently I was having with someone about actually somebody seeing dripping out of their solar plexus chakra, and I had not heard of that. And so I went back to my team and I asked questions about it in case I ever did see it myself. And what it was that person, their life force was draining. It was basically dripping. And why that happens sometimes is depression, clinical, a loss of self, like that maybe you can't quite move on with something. Sometimes medicines and things will start draining you, and so I call it like it's your life force is being drained, and so that is definitely something that needs to be fixed. And usually I could do that through just really staring at it, watching the frequency spin. Okay, I'm going to speak then about the heart chakra. A lot of times the heart chakra is the biggest one that everybody needs to work on, because there's so many emotions that are processed there. Now I see the heart chakra as a 3-chambered image. There's 3 energy chambers, and it looks like a soft glowing light, and on the left side of the body is the pink part, which is considered self-love. On the right side of the body is the green part, which I say is the love you give to others. And then in the back, behind those two chambers, is the Christ consciousness chamber. And what that is it's the unconditional love for fellow man, love for animals, love for the grass and the trees. It's basically unconditional love. And so ripen those three up, see what's in there. A lot of trauma comes out of the heart. A lot of people put a lot of stuff in that heart, Then there's up to the throat chakra, which people, that one's pretty easy. It seems nowadays people like to talk, so usually I'm toning down a throat chakra. Then there is the third eye, which to me it depends on what you do for a living and what your higher self goals are. There are different ways that I go about the third eye chakra. Sometimes I will give you a brand new system so you can see more clearly. Sometimes I don't do that at all. Sometimes I just make it more sturdy. So that's the third eye. And then finally is the crown. The crown is the opening to the universe kind of a thing. And it's very interesting because the crown is where you get a lot of your energies in from. And the interesting part is that I have seen, so you get frequencies coming in, a lot of times you could see the white light coming into the top of your head or whatnot, whatever. Well, I have a friend who is very much a reader, a seer, and so this person does lots of card readings and shuffling and doing cards. And the problem with that is that the people that come to card readers a lot of times have nothing but malintent. They don't care about you. They don't care that you're exhausted. They just care about, I have money and blah, blah, blah. So, with the crown chakra, this girl, she, like I said, she's a reader, and somehow, and I asked my team, why is this happening to her? And it was because of some of the practices she uses in her awakening aren't perfectly good. So I had to explain that to her. And after that, she did not have any trouble again with her fibromyalgia because the crown chakra was balanced, and so only white light came through. So that's a lot of babbling, but I believe that I'm pretty done explaining. Oh, and then always I leave you off with energetically grounding you with a cord of light through and through your spine and into the ground. So that is how I do an energy body.